Good morning everyone and welcome back to Madeira. We are here for day 3 of the World Para Swimming World Championships 2022. There is the outside of the Pintada Olympic Pools complex, perched on the hill here in Funchal, the capital of the island of Madeira. There's the scene inside. The teams and the swimmers have been enjoying the sights and sounds of the beautiful island of Madeira over the last few days. Well, some great sights of this island in the Atlantic Ocean. My name's Paul Noble. I'll be taking you through the action today. I will be joined in the commentary position, as always, by Liz Johnson. Morning, Liz.
Morning, Paul. How are we this morning? Day 3 already?
I know it. It's flown in. it's a relatively short session this morning, around about an hour and a half, and there's what we are looking forward to. Starting off with the men's 100 breaststroke in the SB14 class. As we have said all week, we've got a range of strokes, a range of classifications, range of distances, and we've had an exciting couple of days, haven't we? 4 world records already in the first couple of days, and maybe some more today.
Yeah, we have, and some people have really stepped up, got back in quite quickly after the Paralympic Games. Other athletes have taken a bit more of a break, but even though we've got a short session today, we've literally got it all. We've got every stroke, and we've even got a relay. Every distance, every stroke. No 400s today, this morning. We're saving those for the finals tonight, but we go all the way up to that 200 metres interval medley, so it is pretty exciting. So, and like you said, pretty short.
Yeah, we might maybe get to enjoy some of the sights of the island of Madeira in the mid-session break. We haven't had much time to do that over the first couple of days.
No, obviously the programme gets condensed for World Championships into 7 days rather than the 10 that you would see at the Paralympic Games, which means it's busier for everyone. We see a lot more athletes having to double up if they run those busy programmes, and it does mean longer sessions, but it doesn't dilute the quality of the action, which is brilliant news.
And we've had, 51 medals presented in the first couple of days, and Liz Johnson medal table.
Liz Johnson's medal table is back in my room, so
Oh, no.
well, it's dates, you know. But Liz Johnson's medal table obviously matches up to
the official one.
The official one, because the only difference is that I count the medals by medal ceremony rather than by race. So in the finals, it makes it a bit exciting, but at the end of the day, it is it's all about the official table. But there we can see, this is one of my favourite shots. We come to it every morning, and you can see the different ways in which athletes prepare for their race. These are the final stages before they walk out. They've all been checked in. They've been sat there for 15 to 20 minutes. Some athletes bounce around. Some athletes check their suits. Some athletes stretch. Some athletes meditate. Whatever you need to do in those final stages. That's the last point that they get to, before they're lined up behind what we see as a scoreboard and tunnel end, where the athletes walk out and are introduced.
Yeah, well, the swimmers preparing for their races here. The fans, we have some home nation swimmers. There's the Portuguese swimmers. It's Susana Veiga, big hope for the host nation later on in the week. We haven't had a medal for Portugal yet, but some couple of chances today, I think. To prepare for the first event. It's the men's 100 metres breaststroke for the SB14 classification. SB indicates that it's a breaststroke race. The classification number 14 indicates that it is a race for swimmers with an intellectual impairment. 2 Australians in this first heat, Jake Michelle and Benjamin Hans. Gabriel Bandeira goes for Brazil, and Nicholas Bennett goes for Canada. Seen some swimmers in this first heat, Liz, that have already hit the medal podium. Bandeira, winner of the 200 freestyle, just a couple of hundredths of a second outside the world record mark on day one of this competition. And Benjamin Hans, the Australian as well, was a medalist, gold medalist in the backstroke. There's his compatriot Jake Michelle, who was the silver medalist at the Paralympic Games last year. And he's one that just kind of emerged on the scene last year. He'll be the favourite for the first of the 2 heats. This one, as always, the fastest 8 swimmers from the 2 heats combined will progress to the final. And the 2 yellow caps in the centre there, Jake Michelle in lane 4, closest to us, and Gabriel Bandeira, the Brazilian, off to a good start there in lane 3, 1 lane up from the Australian.
Well, we talk about some of these athletes having very busy programs, but Jake Michelle, this is his specialist event. This is the one he waits for. This is all he swam in Tokyo, and he got that silver medal. He was 4th at the World Championships, but he's really grown into this quite literally at 6'7", but he turns first there, 30.26. He'd expect to to try now and lead the spearhead so that he gets a good lane for the final, because a lot of these SB14 athletes get their confidence from that. But going very well is that black hat of Nicholas Bennett of Canada. He surprised people earlier in the week, and he's going extremely well here again.
It's the three swimmers all in a row, and it might well be Bennett, the Canadian, who's going to take this one, and he does in 106.86, ahead of Jake Michel, only just 3/100ths of a second there, and Bandera in third position. So 106.86 from Nicholas Bennett. He has been a little bit faster, and not sure that Jake Michel's too happy with that swim, shall we say?
No, we definitely got his post-race commentary and reaction there, didn't we? But it's difficult in the heat. It's difficult when you've watched some of your team go in, and this is your one event that you wait for. You sometimes put a bit of pressure on yourself in the heat, but that position, he got the touch, which is important. Second place. It's unusual that someone who finishes second in their heat doesn't progress to the final. Not impossible, but very, very unlikely. So we'll see how the second heat gets on. He'll be nervously waiting, but he'll go away and work with his coaches, and he'll come back faster tonight. Yeah,
the result of that first heat, Nicholas Bennett takes it ahead of Jake Michel and Gabriel Bandera. 106.86 down to 107.14. Heat 2's out now. That heat 1, a relatively slow heat, Liz. We thought that would be a little bit faster.
Yeah, now the second heat have the advantage of seeing those times, but again, if you rest on your laurels too much, then you go even slower. So it's best that these athletes stay to their own race.
Paralympic champion Yamaguchi in lane number 4. Paralympic bronze medalist Scott Quinn from Great Britain goes in lane number 3, and swimmer who's second in the world rankings this year, the Brazilian Brutos de Oliveira, will go with that blue cap of Brazil in lane number 5. Good start from the Paralympic champion and world record holder.
Yeah, that black hat there of Japan leading the spearhead into the turn and going well. All athletes here, they'll be buoyed by seeing that first heat. 30.21 at the turn for Yamaguchi. It is Brutus de Oliveira who's turning second at the moment, and Scott Quinn of Great Britain. This is his main event, his one event that he swims. He's currently in that third position, and those three in the centre lanes now starting to pull away from the rest of the field.
Well, world record holder looks like he's going to make sure of that place in the final. Just going away from the Brazilian. This one is going to go to the Japanese swimmer. It's going to be significantly faster. Championship record, wow, for Yamaguchi. Faster than the time he went to win the title in London in 2019. And that sent a message to the rest of the field. Brutus de Oliveira in second place in 106.13, and Scott Quinn just drifting in to the 107 range in 107.12. I think that should be good enough for those swimmers to progress to the final. And Yamaguchi, well, far and away the best performance of these heats.
Yeah, Yamaguchi looked really strong there. And two things happen when your breaststroke is going well. You either swim just like Yamaguchi did there, and it's controlled and it's strong, and you go fast without even trying, like you surprise yourself and you go that quickly, or you're feeling good and you lengthen out your stroke and you slow it down that way. But Yamaguchi there, he was in a different league in that heat compared to all of the other swimmers that we saw.
There is the result, a championship record for the Japanese swimmer Yamaguchi in 104.70. It's the fastest time in the year, this year, and he will progress to the final in first position, followed by Brutus de Oliveira, Bennett, Michel, Quinn, Bandera, Jonsson and Parmentier. The main contenders all making it through to the final, and they will be hoping to improve their times, but Yamaguchi looked sensational there in the heats. On to the women's race, Liz. Again, just the main head-to-head in this women's race, probably in the second heat, as they come out onto the pool deck here for the first heat of this SB14. All to play for though. We've got the world champion and the Paralympic champion in heat number 2. So heat number 1, trying, as we said, to gain position. We've got Paige Leonhart from Australia, second in the world rankings last year. And that's the time that she has entered this competition in. There she is, she goes in lane number 4. Deborah Borges Carneiro from Brazil goes in lane number 5. And it was her twin sister, Beatrice, who got the bronze medal in the Paralympic Games last year. There is Deborah. Experienced Pernilla Lindberg from Sweden goes up there in lane 3. Janina Falk from Austria with that red costume goes in lane number 6. Madeline McTurnan closest to us, the yellow cap of Australia. Right at the top, Justine Morier from Canada. Now, Paige Leonhart, we haven't seen her feature in the world rankings this year. She's down around about 5th position, but she was second in the world rankings last year. And that was a decent time that she's entered here in 114, sorry. So she's able to repeat that. She's got a great chance of hitting the medal podium.
And she's come into this meet off a great preparation camp. She's feeling good, she's looking confident. I think experience is so important in all classification groups, but especially the SB14s, because that's where they get their confidence from and their belief. And we can see her, she's not hanging about, she's taking this one out. She doesn't want to leave anything to chance. Turning first there, 35.49, a full second ahead of Carneiro of Brazil, and next to her there. And Carneiro's trying to come back. They're both going at very different timings, but you can see it is Paige Leonhart of Australia starting to tie up slightly now. Carneiro got that longer stroke, but Leonhart will hold on to take the win here in this heat.
Yeah, she does in 1:16.65. It's the fastest time that she has gone this year. And to win that heat, that should see her safely through into the final. Deborah Borges Carneiro in 2nd position. And it was 3rd place for Pernilla Lindberg, winning that close contest with Justine Morier of Canada right at the top on the picture there. There's Paige Leonhart, again one of the Australian team. We've kind of seen them coming through in the last couple of years. The relays for the S14 classification have been introduced, and it's meant that teams have kind of introduced swimmers into their teams that might not have been progressed to for selection for the major championships. And Paige Leonhart was introduced to the team a few years back, and the Australian relay team has been very successful the last couple of years.
Yeah, the Australians have always had a very good presence in the S14 classification. Obviously that translates to SB and SM14 as well. And they've got good history, so she's got good role models to follow. And the relays can become very, very competitive for places to get in, because it's 2 male places, 2 female places. So the athletes domestically, it becomes very competitive.
So Paige Leonhart in a good position there. She will qualify for the final tonight. In 1st position in that heat, ahead of Borges Carneiro of Brazil. Heat number 2, Michelle Alonso Morales, the world record holder, goes in lane number 5. Next to her, the world champion from Great Britain is Louise Fides. And there's Poppy Maskell, who had a great swim yesterday in the backstroke in her international debut for the Great Britain team, taking that silver medal. Michelle Alonso Morales, a great record in this event. Only a couple of blips, and one of them was when she was beaten by Louise Fides in the World Championships.
Yeah, and you're always inclined in this event to say that Michelle Alonso Morales is the pre-race favourite. She's another one who is a breaststroke specialist. She always attacks that first 50 metres. It's what she's always done. It's what she's known for. And in the beginning, it used to take her competitors by surprise, going out there in 34.5, almost 3 seconds ahead of Sarazawa of Japan. But now they're used to it. They don't panic quite so much, and they look to try and reel her in. And Sarazawa here going very, very well for Japan. Louise Fides of Great Britain there, the front of those white caps chasing, currently in third position. But Alonso Morales looking very, very strong here.
Yeah, very strong indeed. It's a good tussle for second position, but no one's going to catch Michelle Alonso Morales of Spain. World record holder, Paralympic champion 3 times over. Michelle Alonso Morales into the wall in 1:16.12, just half a second faster than Paige Leonhart. Good swim for Serizawa of Japan, getting in ahead of the world champion Luis Vides. 1:21.21 for Serizawa and 1:22.37 for Luis Vides. Fourth place was Poppy Maskell. And that might well be enough to qualify her for another final. There's Luis Vides. Breathing slightly hard, Luis Vides there. Michelle Alonso Morales looks relaxed.
Yeah, the thing is, again, you sometimes you see another swimmer and you're like, are they going really well? Am I going, where are we at? And actually, it's not until you see the clock and you're like, okay, and your feelings and your emotions and your reactions often are confirmed by that clock. And that's what, so sometimes you'll look really good or you'll feel really good and it'll be slow, and other times you'll feel heavy and like it was a slog, but you'll be pleased with what you did and it'll be your target. So all athletes will go back and reflect the 4 finals.
Michelle Alonso Morales takes that second heat, so she will qualify in first place for the final. Let's see the finalists there. Michelle Alonso Morales will lead the way. Paige Leonhart from that first heat, and Deborah Borges Carnero. Serizawa had a good swim. 2 from Great Britain. Experience of Pernilla Lindberg in there as well, and Justin Morier of Canada. So cagey first few heats, Liz.
Yeah, like we said, the breaststroke events. We've been flooded with S14 events at the beginning, and quite often a lot of the athletes are used to racing each other. But the breaststrokers wait for it. It's their one chance, and they put a lot of pressure on themselves. And we saw maybe those nerves there in those heats, but they'll come back tonight, and we're setting up for some exciting racing.
Yeah, those first 4 heats, Yamaguchi, certainly of Japan, looked the most impressive out of anyone. Move on to the next event, which is the men's 150 meters individual medley. Again, top 8 and qualify for the final. Only 1 heat. We're using the outside lanes, using lane 0 and using lane 9, so 10 in this one, and that'll get down to 8. It's a 150 meters individual medley, so 3 lengths on the pool. Start with the backstroke, move on to the breaststroke, then on to the freestyle. And some swimmers in specialist from Spain. And Javi Torres due to take the start as well. I can see him behind the blocks in lane number 6. There's Dadon from Israel, the Paralympic Games silver medalist. There's Javi Torres. Javi Torres, 3 times he's been a champion in this event, right back to the inaugural World Championships in 1994. So he won in 94, 98 and 2002. He owned this event for years.
Yeah, I do remember when I was young and I was first coming into paraswimming, this was the event that his name was synonymous with.
Javi Torres, of course, quit after the London Paralympic Games. He was a coach for the Spanish team in Rio, and decided to make a comeback and made the Tokyo team. A great hero in Spain, 16 times a Paralympic medalist over the years, and this was his event, as I said. He has company with his Spanish teammate Miguel Luque and also Manuel Martinez. Just checking to see if we've got all the swimmers. Yeah, we've got 10 swimmers there. Martinez using the underwater very well. This is the SM4 classification. Remember, 1 to 10, those with physical impairment, with the S1 being the most severe impairment, and this is kind of in the lower range, so a range of impairments in this one, Liz.
Yeah, this is the lower range of classifications, but it's the highest classification group that are able to swim the 150 medley. No butterfly leg in this, and it is Camacho Ramirez of Mexico that is making the most of the backstroke leg. He turns first. There we can see out in lane 7, 45.09. It is Xavi Torres who's second after the backstroke. But as ever, breaststroke can be such a telling tale, and you look to that centre lane. If you look in lane 4, Ami Omer Dadon of Israel, the Paralympic silver medalist in this event, will look to try and make up some of that early deficit that Camacho Ramirez has inflicted on the chasing pack. Also going very well in the blue cap of Italy, it is the breaststroke specialist Ephraim Morelli. He's now you can see the breaststrokers starting to come through, and it is Morelli who's having the better of the breaststroke legs at the moment, but Camacho Ramirez holding on to that lead that he built up through the first leg, and it will be all to play for in the freestyle on that final leg. There are 10 swimmers in this heat, 8 can progress through to the final, so we will lose the 2 slowest swimmers here, but at the moment it might even be Ephraim Morelli who takes the touch for the final turn, and it is. He's made up an incredible amount of distance there on that breaststroke leg.
And Morelli, the winner of the 50 breaststroke a couple of days ago at these championships, but they are on to the freestyle now. And that is the territory of Ami Omer Dadon of Israel. He was twice Paralympic champion in Tokyo in the freestyle events, and he is just about heading the Mexican swimmer Camacho Ramirez. Camacho Ramirez, a youngster of the field, just 17 years of age, took a bronze medal in the backstroke, so he used that to his advantage there in the early stages of this one. But the Israeli swimmer is going to come home. The Paralympic Games silver medalist in this event comes home in 2:43.13. So Ami Omer Dadon will be safely into that final. Good swim from Camacho Ramirez. That's an improvement on his entry time of some 4 seconds. And as the swimmers come in now, might be Andreas Ernhofer from Austria in lane number 2, been given the touch in 3rd position, so he'll be delighted with that. The Austrian, the European bronze medalist in breaststroke, came through for 3rd position there, ahead of Ephraim Morelli and ahead of Miguel Luque and Xavi Torres, the 2 Spanish swimmers. Final swimmer is in now, Ariel Malyar, up there in lane 10, but as quite often happens in the IM swims, Liz, the lead changed hands almost every stroke.
It did, and Camacho Ramirez swam very well on that backstroke, and you have to play to your strengths. We talk about this all the time in the medley. People say, "Oh, why didn't he pace it better?" It's not that he didn't pace it, it's just that his best stroke, it came early on, his advantage came early on, but actually it was Andreas Ernhofer who had a superb breaststroke leg that really moved him through the field to finish strongly and set him up for that freestyle there.
Yeah, he sneaked through Andreas Ernhofer. We're still waiting for confirmation of this one. We had this yesterday, didn't we? In the individual medley, it was quite long waits for the result. A lot can go wrong in the individual medley in technical strokes.
Yeah, we've talked about it again before, but essentially at paraswimming, what happens is they have the swimming rule book, and then every disability, when you go through the classification process, you're asked to do a range of movement, and there's a list of exceptions that are accepted for certain movement patterns and certain disabilities. So they have to be then checked at the end of every race to see if it's an infringement or if it's allowable because it's the only movement that you can make. And obviously with an individual medley, there's 3 different strokes to check, and there's also, well, there's 10 swimmers in this one, and the lower down the classification system you go, typically the more exceptions that people have. So things like on breaststroke, typically you have to touch simultaneously with 2 hands. Both hands have to touch the wall at the same time for it to be legal. But a lot of the time the exemption is that you have to just show intent to touch with 2 hands.
Now we do have a couple of disqualifications there. Didn't affect, oh wow, in fact it did affect the top 3 places actually. Camacho Ramirez being disqualified, and Dadon, Ehrenhofer and Morelli. They will advance to the final in the top 3 places, with the 2 Spaniards in 4th and 5th. 3rd Spaniard and the 2nd Israeli in that one, as well as the Argentinian Nicolas Carlos Ricci. So, down to the sprint events now, and it's the women's 50 freestyle in the S12 classification. We're staying at that top end of the pool for the 50 meters events. And again, just one heat of this one. 10 swimmers due to take the start. Here are your 10 swimmers. We have probably the main 2 in the centre, you would say, Maria Carolina Gomez Santiago and Hannah Russell. Although Anna Stetsenko, a Ukrainian, previously swam in the S13 classification. She's moved down to the S12s. There's Hannah Russell.
The S12s didn't have an event in this event in Tokyo, so they swam up, and Gomez Santiago actually took the gold medal, and there Hannah Russell, she was the gold medalist in this event back in Rio. So the
might just throw something else into the mix with these 2. Gomez Santiago in 4, Hannah Russell in 5, Stetsenko in lane number 3. Just one lane up from those 3 yellow lanes. It's a good start though from Gomez Santiago in lane number 4, the Brazilian, just forging ahead of that white cap of Hannah Russell as they come in. Stetsenko going well, and it's, in fact it's the Silva Souza, the Brazilian, going well in lane number 6 as well. Looks like it might be Brazil 1 and 2 here as they hit the wall. Hannah Russell just gets in there in lane number 5. Berra, who finished strongly in lane number 2. Gomez Santiago, no doubt about that one, 26.99. That's just shy of the championship record.
Yeah, dipping under that 27-second barrier there. We talk about those barriers. Sometimes every classification, every event has the barrier, and like 27 seconds is the one in this category. And there you can see not many people have been under it. And Gomez Santiago there, she looks really comfortable after that 50 meters, not really out of breath. She will be out of breath, but it will take a bit of time for it to settle in. It was so quick, it was over before it started. But the Silva Souza in that yellow hat closest to us, she had a great start off the block, and it was that gave her the advantage to get that second touch, because Hannah Russell was coming back at her, as was Anna Stetsenko and Alicia Berra.
Yeah, it was Brazil 1 and 2. The electronics have caught up now. Gomez Santiago, the Silva Souza, 1 and 2 for Brazil. Hannah Russell in 2nd. Anna Stetsenko not too far behind. So Brazil in good shape for this one. There's 1 and 2 in the final. Gomez Santiago looking in really good shape. A gold and a silver already this week, and she is very much the favourite to add another one to that.
Yeah, she's the sprinter to beat. But there's plenty more in the tank from a couple of those women too.
Well, we have an update from that previous result there. We could see that Lyndon Longhorn was disqualified previously, but it looks like that has been corrected now. So there is the final standings and the final swimmers who will progress to the final. So Longhorn will take his place in the final as we go on another 50-meter event. And this is the men's butterfly in the S5 classification. Just 9 swimmers taking the start in this one. All in the S5 classification, with the exception of Mats Topkin from Estonia. An S4 swimmer, he's swimming up against the S5s. And he will go right at the top in lane number 0. Back in the water again, there's Samuel da Silva de Oliveira. he's been a character at these games, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's one of the youngest members of the Brazilian team. He is a character. He's enjoying being here. He's been looking forward to this for a while. But next to him, Paige Leonhart of Japan, the other 16-year-old, surprised everybody yesterday to get on that podium and take a bronze medal as well. So the youngsters are coming through strongly in this S5 event.
And there's Daliev as well from Kazakhstan. Abbas Karimi as well, new American citizen, formerly in the refugee team. And a number of these swimmers, Liz, have got very similar impairments.
Yeah, and you can see there the double arm amputations or limb difference means that they get a good start off that leg, and they use that undulation very, very successfully. And they all have similar techniques as well, because they've learnt them over the years. You can see there both athletes breathing to the same side. So Samuel de Silva de Oliveira will see the clear water, and he's going very, very strongly here.
Yeah, it's been a real find for the Brazilian team here, and he's going to bring them home in front this time. In 34.74, Hinata not too far behind. He's been a real star in the last couple of days, a Japanese swimmer. 2 16-year-olds there at the front of the field. And in third place it was Daliev from Kazakhstan, the winner of the European Open last year, in this very pulled Kazakhstani swimmer. But there's Hinata and the youngsters controlling this one.
Yeah, when we get that zoom in on de Silva de Oliveira, you see those round circles on his back, and that is from the cupping technique that his physio team use. So it's not sometimes it's painful when you're in the process of it, but it's not a long-term pain, and it's just where the pressure has been sucked, and the treatment, it really works very successfully for these athletes. But in this classification, they can't go too easy, and then it's very difficult to then pick up the pace. So we see their heat swims being quite quick, and then maybe they ease off into those final few meters once they know their position is safe.
De Silva de Oliveira taking that one in 34.74. Not too far behind him was Kaede Hinata. 2 medalists last night are back on top 2 positions this morning. Daliev in third, Abbas Karimi in fourth position, and Thiago de Oliveira Ferreira, the cousin of Samuel, he also makes it into that final. There's that picture of Funchal on the wall, Liz. We love looking at that, don't we?
We do, and it's a little more reflective of how it is outside today. No clouds in the sky. The last few days have been quite misty, but we woke up today to some beautiful sunshine. Doesn't make any difference because we're sat in here.
That's upset you, though. We've come to this beautiful island. It's been cloudy, isn't it?
Yeah, I just feel sorry for all the holidaymakers. There's a lot of holidaymakers around, isn't there? But for the swimmers, it's better, because then you don't feel like you're missing out on anything.
Down to the women's 50 metres butterfly for the S5 classification. Again, we've got a couple of swimmers swimming up a class, including Great Britain's Ellie Chalice and Jordan Tucker of Canada. They're swimming up in against the S5 swimmers. And there is the favourite for this one, the World Championship silver medalist, Joanna Maria da Silva. Again, we talk about characters in the Brazilian team. Joanna Maria has been around for a number of years now. Always very expressive, you would say.
Yeah, she doesn't age, but she gets really up for these sprint events, and she stares down the pool, and she definitely psychs out some of her competitors, I think. But she's lovely.
Jessica Tinney from Canada being held on position from her coach. This is Joanna Maria da Silva. There is Giulia Gueretti. And we saw Jessica Tinney get some good starts early in the week. She's done that again, getting off that block really well, the Canadian.
Yeah, she's got that push off, and she's up. And we saw Gueretti starting from the seat start and probably getting the least push off that, because she comes up straight into her stroke, but already you can see that strong stroke. She's keeping her head down, the Italian in that blue cap, breathing to the side. But it's almost a trademark of the Italian butterflies, to be honest, as they come in. And it is currently Joanna De Silva Neves just heading up. And she's starting, she's put a bit in and she's moving away. We can see Giretti there, but it will be De Silva that takes this heat. She doesn't swim with goggles. She's never swum with goggles. That's her trademark.
And she takes it 46.62. So just about a second outside her entry time. Giretti about a second and a half behind her. A very different impairment, so Liz, as well. Giretti with really nothing really from the waist down. No power from her legs, her trunk, and short stature athlete as well, Joanna Maria da Silva. So very different impairments, very different techniques.
And it means that you have to have a very different approach to your race, and it adds a complexity to paraswimming because you can't rely on the person next to you with your pacing. Like, you can't sit and let them carry you out, because if you know your strength lies at the beginning and they're gonna build speed and overtake you, then you have to go for it. And that was similar. Like that, we see it a lot in the SB6 categories because there's so much diversity of disability, and you can see it here. Giretti started. She came through early, the power. De Silva got a good start, but then as we came through, it was the Brazilian who stepped it up. She had that ability to go to her kick and step it up to move it on.
Third place was Jordan Tucker. And fourth place was Romero Sanchez. There is confirmation of the result. Joanna Maria da Silva getting that one in 46.62 ahead of Giulia Giretti. They should be safe enough for the final 7 swimmers. They'll go in the second heat. Fastest 8 times from the 2 heats, of course. We'll progress to that final. That's the lineup for heat number 1, but we are going on to heat number 2. You'll see the world record holder in the S4 classification. There she is, Marta Fernandez Infante. She's swimming up against the S5s, but she's highly competitive against these S5s, isn't she, Liz?
Yeah, and you can see she starts in the water, but she's got a really strong stroke in terms of her turnover. Look at the speed at which her arms go over, so she can maximize. She gets good pull. She actually moves most of the water with her triceps. So the top half of her arm is where she uses the water. So she swings those arms over, places them, and moves through very well indeed. She's very balanced, her butterfly. You can see there, going very strongly, those strong shoulders pulling her through the water, in contrast to Ozturk with Turkey in the lane next to her, who is driven all by her legs.
So Fernandez Infante takes that one, 42.27 for the Spanish swimmer. Ozturk and Boyachi, the 2 Turkish swimmers, in second and third position. It's a championship record for the S4 classification. That's the classification that Fernandez Infante swims in. She's swimming up against the S5s, of course, but that'll be the fastest time. And she's kind of been a revelation to us, hasn't she, Fernandez Infante? When we first saw her last year, and well, we could hardly believe that butterfly because it was absolutely sensational, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's so impressive, and it's very rare, as we've talked about with the lower classification groups. There's the main reason that the 150 meters medley is 150 meters and not 200 is because a lot of athletes really don't have the range of movement to get their arms out and over like that. But butterfly is her better stroke, and even in freestyle events, her butterfly is better because you don't need. The coordination isn't impacted because both sides of your body are doing the same thing at the same time. So that symmetry that is required overrides the brain's ability or inability sometimes to coordinate, which is what you need on front four when all 4 limbs are supposed to do different things at different times.
And you know that as a breaststroker.
That's why I swam breaststroke. It is why so many athletes with cerebral palsy are good at breaststroke and butterfly.
We're having a little bit of a discussion before this result is made official again. I think we have a championship record there for Marta Fernandez Infante from Spain, 42.27. Ozturk in second position. Celine Sache from France in third spot. And there is a disqualification. Boyachi, who swam so well yesterday, take that gold medal for Turkey. She is disqualified today, but her teammate is gone through. Seville Ozturk in second place, just ahead of Joanna Maria da Silva, but Fernandez Infante, the one to beat. Well, back to the individual medley swims. It's the SM6 classification. Again, 9 swimmers taking the start in this one. And we always like the kind of middle classes, don't we, Liz? Especially in the individual medley. It's a real kind of mix of impairments, and it kind of just, as we've said, it works its way through as we go through the stroke. Everyone in these classifications, they're all classified as to what their ability is in the water, what their function is in the water.
Yeah, and that's why, I guess, in this one specifically, the individual medley is so exciting, because there's a range of impairments, a range of strokes which people excel at. And so we've seen it in some of the individual medleys already this week, that the lead can change hands so many times. It's so unpredictable, but it all comes together at the end for some really close finishes.
It's Maisie Summers-Newton, the world record holder in this one, looking relaxed. First time we've seen her in an individual event this week. Swam in the relay yesterday. She's got some big events to come. Double Paralympic champion in this event, and also in the breaststroke as well, so she'll be strong. As Nicole Turner won her first Paralympic medal last year in the 50 butterfly, so she'll be out fast, I'm sure. First length of butterfly. Grace Harvey from Great Britain goes in lane number 5 as well, medalist yesterday in the 100 freestyle. Summers-Newton is going to be the favourite for this one, Liz, and Great Britain with a great record in this event over the years, and of course a big role model for Maisie Summers-Newton was Ellie Simmons, of course.
Absolutely, and this event, Ellie Simmons recently retired, and actually this is one of those events that is extremely competitive. In Tokyo, it took to go under 3 minutes to get on the podium, and even then people who went under 3 minutes and maybe didn't get on the podium. And so it's really, really moved on. And even though we've had some retirements, we've got athletes missing due to illness or injury or other medical needs, or just choosing to sit this one out after the Paralympic cycle to recharge ahead, it's still really, really competitive. And Grace Harvey has got a good 4 strokes, but it's Maisie Summers-Newton who has really worked on her backstroke. This is probably, the butterfly backstroke is probably Maisie's weaker half of the race, but she's much like her role model Ellie Simmons. She's worked really hard so that she doesn't have a bad stroke, and you can see there is Grace Harvey, who's sneaked up the medal there. She's swimming well. She's done some personal best times already this week, got on the podium in the 100 meters freestyle last night. But when we go on to the breaststroke, Grace Harvey is an SB5 athlete, has a lower leg impairment, so has no kick. Maisie Summers-Newton, the SB6 Paralympic champion. This is where Maisie will look to move ahead and get her move. But also, Nicole Turner's got a very, very strong breaststroke as well. So she will look to be with the British athletes. She won't want the British athletes to get too far ahead of her. But there we can see the difference in that underwater stroke and the way that the 2 British athletes at the front of the field swim this event. Harvey there breathing every other stroke to minimise the resistance that her chest causes when she does come up to breathe, because she doesn't have that leg kick to drive her forward. But Maisie Summers-Newton, she breathes every other stroke for a different reason, because she's flatter and it keeps her, and that is a technique that's been developed by the athletes with short stature over the years. But Summers-Newton looking very, very strong here as we come into the final turn.
And it was a decent time in that first 100 for Maisie Summers-Newton. We're just keeping an eye on the splits here of the world record. Sometimes quite difficult in the individual medley if it's an older record, because a number of the swimmers swim individual medley. They have their strengths and their weaknesses as they go through the medley. But we have a direct comparison here for Maisie Summers-Newton. She's not hanging about here in the heats, just half a second shy of her own world record mark. This could well be under the 3 minute mark And it's not that long ago when the 3-minute mark was first breached by Ellie Simmons in the Rio Paralympics in 2016. So Maisie Summers-Newton, Grace Harvey, two Great Britain athletes, and she is under the 3-minute mark. Look at that, 2:59.56. Excellent swim from Maisie Summers-Newton in the heats this morning. Grace Harvey clear in second position. Looks like Nicole Turner is going to hold off the challenge of Evelyn Charas from Hungary to come in third position there. But that was a good swim from Maisie Summers-Newton. The two Great Britain athletes looking really happy with that one.
Yeah, Summers-Newton's quickest time of the year by just a 1/10 of a second, and also Harvey there going her quickest time by 2 seconds. So they're in good form. There's 9 athletes in this heat this morning. 8 progressed through to the final, so there was no pressure on them in terms of they didn't have to go fast, but that would be a signal to the rest of the field that they are feeling good and they're looking very strong. They look very relaxed, and again continuing that tradition in this classification group.
Yeah, final swimmer coming in there in lane number 8. And that's Carla Francesca Bravo Gonzalez from Mexico. And there's the world record holder, the world champion, and the Paralympic champion, Maisie Summers-Newton. That was a good swim, wasn't it? As you said, Great Britain have got a great record in this World Championships. Ellie Simmons won it 3 times. Natalie Jones won it back in 2006, kind of starting the run of the individual medley and swimmers in this SM6 classification, and Maisie Summers-Newton continued that run in 2019.
Yeah, we talk about it across the classification, across events, that domestic competition. If you've got that every time you're rocking up to a regional meet or a national meet, then it does drive you on. It means that you can't, even if you're feeling tired, you're in the middle of a heavy block of training, you have to raise your game. But it also means that you're used to racing, and those opportunities can't be undervalued.
Maisie Summers-Newton holds the championship record set back in London at 2:57.24, just a couple of seconds outside that. That's got to be under threat tonight. She looked really good, finishing ahead of Grace Harvey, Nicole Turner, Evelyn Charas. There are your finalists for tonight. World record holder Maisie Summers-Newton leads the way. $100 butterfly for men in the S9 classification. Again, just looking at who's taking the start here, Liz. I think we only have 8 swimmers in this one. So again, they should all progress to the final. We had a withdrawal, so we've ended up with only 8 swimmers in this one. So they're all swimming for position. The organisers have decided not to cancel the heats. They run the heats to stick to the timeline, so it's a chance to blow away the cobwebs of some of these swimmers that we haven't seen this week.
Yeah, absolutely. The S9 program started with the SB9 breaststroke and the medley, and a lot of athletes don't dabble in breaststroke, which means that this is the first time that they are entering the competitive action here at these World Championships.
William Martin, the Australian Paralympic champion and world record holder. There's Federico Morlacchi, the Italian team. We're absolutely delighted that he got on the podium yesterday in the individual medley. Jose Antonio Maria Alcaraz, a Spanish swimmer, goes in lane 6, and first time we've seen Simone Barlam, who had such a successful World Championships in 2019. He goes in lane number 5, that blue cap of Italy, just leading William Martin, the world record holder, in the early stages.
Yeah, and he's breathing towards him, and Italy had a fantastic World Championships 2019, and they have so many highlights, but one of them was these two athletes, Barlam and Morlacchi, who are flanking the Australian, touching to tie for the gold medal in this event back then in 2019 in London. It's unlikely that William Martin will let that happen again. He will have something to say about that. The Australian looking comfortable, but Barlam looking very, very strong here as well this morning.
He is. 5 gold medals he won in those World Championships in 2019. He was one of the most decorated athletes at those championships, and he looks long and strong, Barlam. 59.88, just under the 1 minute mark. And that's a decent swim from this morning. William Martin in 2nd position, and in 3rd place was Jose Antonio Maria Alcaraz. Morlacchi back in 5th, but he's an experienced campaigner. He'll know, Morlacchi, that what he had to do. He'll challenge for the medals, I'm sure. There's Jose Antonio Maria Alcaraz. Simone Chiuli from Italy ahead of him. But there's Barlam. Look good, Barlam. First time we've seen him this week.
Yeah, he looks comfortable there. He's got a very long wingspan, and we can see that it allows him to leverage through the water. A little much more comfortable stroke rate than you're used to seeing on butterfly, and he'll be glad. It is about sometimes just settling those nerves, not knowing where you're at in the in your first big race on the world stage of a cycle. So it's nice in some respects that these athletes had that luxury of knowing that they didn't need to drop anyone, because this classification in Tokyo, this was one of those races that was so close that you could swim well and not make the podium. So not often these S9 male athletes get this opportunity to cruise a heat.
That's a decent time for Simone Barlam, under the 1 minute mark. You'll be pleased with that. William Martin in 2nd position, and Jose Antonio Maria Alcaraz in 3rd place. Barry McClements from Ireland getting into 4th position. Irish team already on the medal podium in the 100 butterfly earlier this week with Roisin Nirian. We're hoping to add another medal tonight. But Barlam looking good. And the first time we've seen him in these World Championships, starting his campaign. Women's S9, well, a few more entries in this one, Liz. 2 almost full heats for this one, and this S9 class, very, very competitive at these championships.
Yeah, a lot of these athletes are so used to racing each other, though. There are a few new names, new faces on the global stage at a major championship. Anastasia Dimitrov, the teenager from Spain, who has been a bit of a revelation for the Spanish team. There we see Lizzie Smith, the United States of America, getting her campaign underway. She's the Paralympic Games silver medalist in this one.
Bronze medalist at the previous World Championships as well, Lizzie Smith. There's the youngster, 13 years of age, Anastasia Dimitrov. So an excellent individual medley yesterday. Pretty strong on the butterfly as well, but Smith starts favourite for this one. Great Britain's Tony Shaw goes 1 lane down from Lizzie Smith in lane number 5. Tony Shaw, silver medalist at the last World Championship, getting in ahead of Smith in that kind of orange costume of Great Britain. But Smith off to a good start. Emily Beecroft with that yellow cap of Australia also going well up there in lane 3.
Yeah, Smith there worked the underwater off the start very well, and look to see her do the same here off the turn. Going in, not much to separate, and it was Tony Shaw that got the touch at the turn just by 0.12 of a second from Smith, and Beecroft within half a second of Tony Shaw. But there we will see it, that underwater phase of the American did bring her back up and into the lead. Tony Shaw, though, trying to use her swim speed to get back on level terms. The white hat of the great British athlete closest to us, going strong again, just edging ahead now as we come into the closing stages of this heat.
It's a great swim from Tony Shaw, the 18-year-old. She's going to take this first heat. Excellent stuff from Tony Shaw to take it ahead of Lizzie Smith. 110.39 against 110.69. Emily Beecroft in 3rd position for Australia, and Dani Jimenez coming through strongly for 4th. The Argentinian swimmer, but the 2 out ahead. 2 medalists last time out at the World Championships. And Tony Shaw taking that one in 1:10.39. Should be safe enough for the final, Liz. Just 7 swimmers in the next heat. We think Smith and Shaw are going to progress, and they're going to be quite close to the centre of that pool, I would say.
Yeah, again, you don't have the luxury so much of taking it easy and knowing what times everyone else has done when you go in that first heat. So it's in position is important. And in swimming, it is the fastest 8 athletes that progress, so they can all, effectively it could be Tony Shaw and then 7 from the second heat, but it is unlikely, and Lizzie Smith swam a strong controlled heat there to take that second position.
So Shaw, good swim from her in that first heat, ahead of Smith, ahead of Beecroft. That'll be the target for the second heat. Those swimmers for the second heat. Amy Sheridan from Ireland right up the top in lane number 1. Gordachuk from Israel. Sarai Gascon, who had an excellent swim in the medley yesterday. The experienced campaigner from Spain. Sophia Konkley, the winner of the 200 medley yesterday, goes in for Florian Bulcher of Netherlands, Summer Schmidt of the USA, and Brock Whiston from Great Britain completes the lineup.
Well, this is one of the very competitive events in this women's S9 classification. There was a dramatic finish in Tokyo at the Paralympic Games last year where Sophie Pascoe of New Zealand led for most of the way, and then the strong finish all came down to the wire, and it was Konkley that was victorious on that day. But going well at the turn, it is Florian Buch of the Netherlands in that black cat in lane 5. Currently leading. Konkley now breathing towards her, so she'll be able to see the early leader, mark her, make a decision of whether she's going to overhaul. And already you can see now the strength of Konkley coming through. She's always so strong in these final stages.
Yeah, she certainly was strong when she took herself past the field in the Paralympic Games last year to take the gold. Konkley takes it in 1:08.41. That's the fastest of the 2 heats. Bulcher, good swim from the Netherlands swimmer. Get under the 1:10 mark. And in 3rd spot is Sarai Gascon, former world champion, of course, back in 2017. Gascon, medalist in this event. Further 3 times, 3 silver medals for Gascon in this event, and 1 gold over the years. Konkley as well will go into the final in pole position and as the favourite. Good swim from Florian Bulcher there, Netherlands swimmer. We haven't seen much of her in the international stage. She was a finalist back in the European Championships in Dublin in 2018, but I think that was only her only major championship so far.
Yeah, she set herself up well there. She had a good first 50, and Sarai Gascon, we saw there at the turn, was with the athletes at the turn, but then slightly behind coming into the wall. But again, the experienced, mature athlete, she swam a brilliant 200 metres individual medley last night to get on the programme, so she's pacing herself through the week.
So Konkley takes it ahead of Bulcher and Gascon. Summer Schmidt and Julia Gordachuk had a close contest there, just 8/100ths of a second separating them for 4th and 5th position. Is that going to be vital? Well, both of them miss out on the final because that last place in the final goes to the youngster, Anastasia Dimitriev. Konkley leads the way, Florian Bulcher and Tony Shaw. That is the top 3. And there's some of the fans in the red, white and blue. Is that the French list? Looks like a French flag there.
Yeah, I think it was.
There's the home team. Portuguese, Brazilians there.
It's us.
Oh, it's us. Good. That took us by surprise.
We don't see, oh, we're sat behind some Italian fans.
There we are. A couple of Dutch flags in front of us. I didn't notice them before. Well. On the freestyle for men in the S13 class.
You can hear them. Where those air horns come from all of a sudden.
I think that might be the Polish team, you know. Polish team have been the loudest team, I think. without exception. But we did have a few Americans in our ears a couple of days ago, didn't we?
It's true. They didn't realise how close they were stood to the microphones, though, did they? I think they had a bit of a shock.
No, we don't want to be on the live stream. Well, it's too late. Heats of this men's 100 freestyle S13. Simmons with a visual impairment. See the return of the champion in the breaststroke last night, Camacho Engel. Germany goes in lane 3. Islam Aslanov, World Championship silver medalist, goes in the middle lane in lane 4. Alex Portal had a good swim on day 1 to take silver in the butterfly. The French swimmer. That's why the French flags are out. Alex Portal back in the water again in lane number 5, just behind Aslanov as they come to the turn.
Yeah, Portal got off the wall, off the block well and used the underwater, but it was Aslanov that once they got up into their strokes started to forge ahead. Engel was going well down that first 50 metres, touching third. He's still in contention here. But it is Aslanov who's looking very, very powerful here. Now it's opened up about a body length lead ahead of Alex Portal, who's breathing towards Aslanov's feet. But it will be Aslanov that comes in to take the touch. 53.43 for him.
Yeah, 53.43 for Aslanov. That's around about a tenth of a second faster than his entry time. So a good heat swim from Islam Aslanov. Alex Portal in second position in 54.67, and Camacho Engel does hold on for third, although it was really close. Rastelsky, Madeira, Alhambra Moller very close behind there, and again all about position. This could be really close here. Engel just getting in third position there, only by about 0.2 of a second ahead of Rastelsky, who's 0.2 ahead of Madeira, and that could be really important when they come to make the final.
Yeah, and these athletes in the visually impaired classifications don't have the luxury that some of the other swimmers have, where you can look across the pool to see the position you're in, especially with these fine margins in those closer finishes. But there we go. Aslanov was making no doubt, putting no doubt in anybody's mind about where he was finishing in that heat.
Aslanov from Uzbekistan takes that 1 second ahead of Alex Portal, with Camacho Engel in third position ahead of Rastelsky. Some big names in the second heat. 2 Ukrainians in 3 and 4, Darchenko and Garishenko. Darchenko already been on the top of the middle podium this week, winning the 100 butterfly. Garishenko, World Championship medalist last time out in London in 2019. And Thomas van Manrooy from Netherlands in lane number 5 with that black cap. Also in good form, medalist at the Paralympic Games last year, and also medalist in the breaststroke yesterday.
Yeah, it was Van Rooy that got off the block well and used the underwater, used the last swimmer to pop up, and we can see there it's given him that advantage, that black cap that was closest to us there, just to the right of Garishenko's white cap for Ukraine. Going in at the turn first, 25.57 for him.
Van Rooy was the one who hit the wall first, and he's maintaining that lead, coming back strongly there. It looks like it might be lane number 2, Tursunkayev, going well, very well indeed, but it could well be lane number 5 now. Van Rooy just into the wall first, is it? No, it is lane number 2, just by 0.1 of a second. Tursunkayev came back really strongly there in that second 50, and he takes that one, 53.62. Danger all over the field there.
Yeah, they also run that race very differently. The Dutch athlete, they're going out very strongly, but Garishenko, in those closing 5 meters, he had such a long stroke, and he was clawing back the distance with every every stroke, and he came into the wall. He got the third place touch, but he looked really, really comfortable. He timed it to perfection. He didn't need to win the heat to progress, and he went out. He was down at the turn. He turned fourth, but not only did he turn fourth, and there was a bigger gap. But as you can see here, as he comes in to finish that white cap in that centre lane 4, there was hardly anything to choose from the athletes at the end.
Yeah, Garashenko in third position. Very, very tight for the finishing positions there, but it is another win for Uzbekistan. This time, but from Musaffar Tursunkayev. He will join his compatriot in the final. Uzbekistan lead the way there in first and second position. Thomas van Rooij in third place with Garashenko in fourth, but not much to choose between all the swimmers there. There's Garashenko just leaving the poolside. That's going to be a close one tonight. Men's 100 butterfly in the 8th classification. First heat sees 5 swimmers taking the start. We have 6 in the second heat. We've got Dimosenis Michelinzakis of Greece. Great record that he has got in this event. He is the world champion. The Greek swimmer from 2019. Was also Paralympic champion back in 2016, but he missed the final in Tokyo, finishing in 9th position. We're not sure. I think it might have been a tactical error for the Greek in that point.
Yeah, we do see those miscalculations sometimes, don't we? We said, and that was one of those events where it was so close, so tight. The margin of error, very small.
There's Mikhail Golas. Again, this event dominated, well, this heat dominated by the one-armed swimmers. Mikhail Golas, World Championship bronze medalist, but he is the world record holder in both the 50 and the 200 metres butterfly.
Yeah, those events not in the Paralympic programme, so don't get swum as often, but athletes regularly use them as part of their training programme. And on the World Para Series, you do get that opportunity, specifically at the meet in Berlin. But here, going very well down the first 50 metres, it is Michelinzakis, 29.00 for him, just under half a second lead from Golas of Poland, and Andrei Guelin going very well as well for Mexico. The 3 athletes with very, very similar strokes. You can see there, the only difference is that Golas breathes to the side under that arm that he swings over, and he's getting back towards Michelinzakis, but Michelinzakis not making the mistake that he made last summer.
Absolutely not. The Greek swimmer making sure this time he's going to win that heat, 102.52. He'll be through safely to the final ahead of Mikhail Golas and Andrade Guelen in third place. Michelinzakis, 102.52 for him.
That is the fastest time in the world this year. He came in ranked number 1, but only with a small margin over America's Robert Griswold that will go in the next heat. But he's moved that along now. He came in with a 103.03 in the books for this year, dipping under that 103 mark by half, so improving his time by half a second. So, like we always say, the racing is experience, but we obviously have to wait for those results to be confirmed.
We do, and there is a bit of activity over at the officials' table here. Michelinzakis, a great record in this event. One blip was that Tokyo Games last year. Just see that the one-armed swimmers there dominating this heat. Probably not going to be the case in the next heat. We've got different impairments. Certainly Robert Griswold in that next heat. Very different impairment from the one-armed swimmers. Oh, there we go. Wow. the leading two disqualified in this men's 100 butterfly essay. And that leaves Andrade Guillen in first position ahead of the two Spanish swimmers. Wow. Well, we're not party to the reasons for those disqualifications. But that is a bit of a shock there in that first heat. Robert Griswold, Paralympic champion, goes in this second heat. And in those centre lanes, Alberto Amadeo and Robert Griswold against the one-armed swimmers on either side of them. But Griswold swam well this week, the American swimmer, and he's looking good in the early stages here.
Yeah, the Paralympic champion there to the left of your shot in that white hat, just coming into the turn in first position in 29.15, and it's home swimmer Diogo Cancela of Portugal, who had a brilliant start off the block, a great reaction time, and he touched in second at the turn. But now Gabriel de Souza still going very well at the top in that yellow hat for Brazil, and Amadeo will look to try and get back on terms with the early leaders. But here, this is all about American Robert Griswold.
Griswold is going to come in front, 103.13, but the host nation will be delighted with that performance. Diogo Cancela in second position in 104.30. There's Griswold taking that one comfortably in the end. But Diogo Cancela, well, we were speaking to the Portuguese swimmers the other day, some of the former team members, and they were saying, watch out for this young man, Diogo Cancela. He might be the future star for the Portuguese team.
Well, he had a great start there, like I said, and it really set him up, and he held on to that second spot. But I don't know if you saw there, but Griswold was saying to Amadeo, did you see the result of that first heat? And there we go. That's a clear example of what happens when you go in the second heat. You've got a bit of advantage. Sometimes you see the times and you know what you've got to do. Sometimes you see the results and those disqualifications, and then that changes things up for you as well, or maybe just relaxes you. Obviously, countries do have the opportunity to protest, and we have seen some athletes being reinstated, but that's on an individual basis, depending on the evidence, depending on the reason for disqualification in the first place. But I just think it's interesting there that conversation happens before we've even left the water.
Oh, well, look at that. We have another two disqualifications. Oh, boy. Andres Onea and the young Portuguese swimmer. Oh, he was so delighted with that performance as well, but it is a disqualification for him. Wow, what an event this has proved to be. Griswold safely into the final, Andrade Guillen from Mexico in second, and Amadeo in third. Well, drama all the way this morning, Liz. Goodness gracious. And it's the one-armed swimmers who have kind of been falling foul of the officials.
Yeah, and the rules are very specific with one-arm butterfly. I remember when I was swimming, I think it was a meet in Berlin once, I got disqualified every single time I swam butterfly until I'd figured out the way to balance out my stroke. Obviously, we don't know why they've been disqualified, but it did seem to be a bit of a theme there.
Absolutely. On the butterfly for the women in the SA classification. Kind of a big support here in the arena. We have in the centre lane Gonzalez Rodriguez from Colombia. The Colombians having a good meet. Bronze medalist at the Paralympic Games last year, the Colombian. Dari Barezzo already on the medal podium in the 400 freestyle on day one of this competition, the 18-year-old. She goes in lane number 5. She's gone into the water there to Dari Barezzo. I don't think they were even under starters' orders at that point. That's an interesting one, Liz.
Yeah, you don't see that very often, do you? But as the signal hadn't even begun, I think she should make her way round to the start block. I'm not sure I've ever seen that happen before.
Oh, just got up and just kind of slipped off the blocks there. I think the officials are going to let her back in. I mean, the rule is, well, has she just gone round the back there? I think that's it. She's out, I think. And she's going to appear through the centre. It's all very confusing for the swimmers left in this one. It's almost as she just stepped up and just went in there in lane number 5. Of course, it is the 1 start rule. Any false starts, swimmers are out. So there's no second chances on this one, and the officials have ruled that that's it for Mahai Zodara. So does leave in lane number 4 though. Gonzalez Rodriguez with a clear advantage in the early stages.
Yeah, the purple hat of the Colombian athlete leading the way there. You can see her with that short stump on her left arm as she brings over that balanced butterfly stroke, and it is also going well. Korean Lim in that lane 6 as we come into the turn. With that revelation to start the race, there are 8 athletes now competing, so assuming they can get through unscathed, then all would progress to the final.
Yeah, the Colombians got 2 spare lanes on either side of her now. Lopez Valdez from Mexico not taking the start, so she's got clear water on either side of her. So Colombian and all these swimmers will progress to the final in this S8 classification. She is the class in the field, Gonzalez Rodriguez. Said winning that bronze medal in the Paralympic Games last year, and she's proving that. She comes home in front in 120.39. Comfortable swim from her. Slight improvement that she went actually in the Tokyo Games last year. She'll be pleased with that one. In second place was Lim from Korea, and in third place Aragon Dayani from Argentina. This S8 butterfly throwing a lot up for us to contend with, Liz.
Yeah, it's had all the drama, isn't it? And I think it's sometimes a bit confusing for the swimmers too, I think. So, and also like we said, the advantage of watching people go before you is you know what they've done. But when you watch the way the men's event unfolded, that can also, if you're not completely in your zone, just focused on yourself, it can be a bit unnerving for you going in after thinking, well, hang on, if that was happening, like start second guessing yourself.
Were you one that was in the zone for your events? Did you cut everything out? Did you have your music on, or were you kind of taking in the atmosphere around you?
Well, I'm more chilled, so I didn't really notice, but it was because I was chilled, not because I was listening to music. Talking, probably.
Yeah, talking, yeah, I can believe that. Gonzalez Rodriguez takes that one ahead of Lim and ahead of Aragon Dayani. No disqualifications this time, so that's a good thing. Apart from the did not start. An interesting one for Zodara Barezzo there. Give him a DNS instead of a disqualification, so interesting.
Yeah, no, back to my call room. I think I was very fortunate that like you said, we were strong in the S6 category in Great Britain, in the men and the women. So it did happen to me when I was talking about that event in Berlin years ago. Sasha Kindred was swimming, and the same happened to him. He would get disqualified, and I'm like, uh-oh, it's my turn. And it would happen like that because we had very similar strokes. And it was just, the rules would change, and you'd have to update your stroke in a line with them. But in terms of my core room attitude, I think I got on really well with the majority of girls I raced. So actually, it was a really nice place to be until you stood behind the block, and then we all focused for 1 minute and 40 seconds or whatever it was, and then we were friends again afterwards.
I was always one that liked to. I wasn't one to kind of shut myself off. I got focused, but I like to know what was going on around me.
Yeah, it didn't work for me. I was always worried if I listened to too much music, I would miss them calling my name. But similarly, and one time I did see people bouncing around when I was younger. I was like, right, I'm going to try that. And I just got really, it was too intense for me. It didn't work out well. It's all about finding your own format, your own approach, your own comfort zone.
We're back to the relays again, Liz.
Yay! I said that sounded sarcastic. It wasn't. I genuinely love a relay. They're
do.
just very complicated to keep up with, these mixed relays. With these.
I tell you, it did help us last night that we're actually here in the venue this year and not sitting at home looking at the screen, because it was so spread out that we needed to stand up to actually look at the teams. Especially these 4x50s, really difficult. I mean, camera people do a great job for us, but it's tough following these relays, isn't it?
Very much so. Exciting though. And obviously there's these mixed relays. There's 2 females, 2 male swimmers. They can be swum in any order. The classification of each swimmer is added up to make a total which cannot exceed 20 points. And the medley relay adds that complication of making sure that you've got the right swimmers for the right events. And sometimes it limits some of the teams.
It does. The freestyle relay, of course, you can swim them in any order, but you've got to swim in the stroke order here. Germany don't take the start, but we have 8 teams in this one, so they will all progress to the final. Italy just sneaked the bronze medal ahead of Great Britain last night in the freestyle relay. Brazil had a convincing win in that freestyle relay, and Mexico had a good swim to take the silver. That's the swimmers who will be going on the second leg, on the breaststroke leg. The backstrokers are in the water already. Italy in lane 4, Spain in lane 5, Brazil in lane 3. May well be the favourites for this one.
Yeah, and the Brazilians and the Italians are off with S5 male athletes. So there's an S5 athlete, Thiago de Oliveira Ferreira, going for Brazil, and there's an S7 athlete, Federico Bocelli, going for Italy. You can see that blue hat leading the way here into the turn. He will hand over to the second male athlete for Italy, Ephraim Morelli.
Yeah, Morelli going in, the champion in the breaststroke. He'll be followed by Spain's Miguel Luque and Ephraim Morelli, both in the same classification, in the SB3 classification. And also going well in lane number 1 is a team from USA. Ellie Marks is handed over to Rudy Garcia Tolson, experienced man, multi-Paralympic gold medalist Rudy Garcia Tolson, doing a great job for his team as he brings the USA team into the lead at the halfway point.
The Americans will have used up 12 points here. The Spanish and the Italians will have used up both of their male swimmers. So now entering the water for the United States of America is Abbas Karimi, the S5 athlete on the butterfly leg. The Italians have gone with a female S5 in the form of Giulia Giuretti. She will be looking to put in a strong performance here.
Yeah, Karimi doing well here, extending that lead for the USA. They have Leanne Smith, the S3 swimmer, on the final leg. Giuretti just being caught by Zadari Barezzo from Spain, so a little bit of a difference in the classification numbers here. Giuretti also being caught by the Brazilian Daniel Javier Mendes as well. Spain going into second position, but the USA away and clear with Leanne Smith with a big lead at the moment, but she is a lower classification swimmer than S3. She'll have higher classification swimmers chasing her in the final leg.
She's looking very strong here at the moment, and it is Marta Fernandez Infante for Spain swimming front crawl. We don't often see her swim front crawl. She's swimming in that lane 5 and going well. Now for Brazil it is Patricia Pereira dos Santos. She is an S4 athlete in that yellow hat for the Brazilians, but it will be the Americans down in lane 1 who put in a super strong performance there to take out this heat.
That is a very good performance indeed by the Americans. The world record held by China at 2:32, and that's at 2:36, so an excellent time there for the USA team, and they're delighted with that one. Second place looks like the team from Brazil, just getting the touch over the Italians, who came back strongly in that last leg as well. And Spain, in fact, who came back strongly in the last leg. Italy in 4th position. with Greece in 5th place. Looks like it's Great Britain in 6th place, Maisie Summers-Newton. And the Mexicans coming in now in 7th position. Final swimmer is the Canadian, going in lane number 7. And that is Jordan Tucker bringing them home. But a good swim from the USA team, Liz. That was excellent.
Yeah, and we can see that's why a lot of the relays have switched to that mixed format, because it does open up the opportunity to field more teams, and we've not seen the Americans. They're such a powerhouse in para swimming, but they've never quite had the right combinations to put together relay teams. But this really does open the door for them, and it was some great swimming there from down in lane 1. They will not be in lane 1 for the final, but again, we have to wait for all of these results to be confirmed.
Oh, don't do it to us.
Hold your breath, or don't hold your breath, depending on how long it's going to take. But there is the experienced Garcia Tolson. Great for him to be in that relay. He used to swim often in the 34-point relay, the men's 34-point relay. He'd have to swim the breaststroke. He was a lower class of breaststroke, whereas there he got to enjoy some real clear water.
Garcia Tolson handing over to Abbas Karimi, former refugee swimmer, now a US citizen, and he did really well on that 3rd leg to give Leanne Smith clear water to bring the USA team. And Leanne Smith's been in great form as well at these championships. Still waiting for confirmation of this one.
Well, also in that Spanish race, Tudor Barrero straight off the block in that 100 fly, back in.
She was. There's the USA taking that one, 2:36.05. I think that should be an America's record. So a great swim from the USA team. Brazil in 2nd, Spain in 3rd, Italy in 4th. I wonder if any of the teams will change their lineups. We saw Mexico do that last night, and it brought them right back into medal contention.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting through the heat is the primary aim. A lot of swimmers with busy programs, definitely some swimmers being rested in those relay heats. Then we'll expect them to be added in for the final and make it a very, very exciting, competitive, breathtaking final event of tonight's action.
Yeah, well, I think we've survived that relay without any disqualifications. It's been a morning of drama, Liz, on this day 3 of action here from Madeira. It's set up some cracking races for tonight. We've had 51 world champions crowned so far, and we're going to crown some more tonight. There's the official result. USA take that one in an America's record, with Brazil in 2nd, Spain in 3rd. Those top 8 will progress to the final. It is going to be a cracking race tonight. Looking forward to it already. The action starts here at 5 o'clock local time, 1700 hours local time here in Madeira. Please come back and join myself and Liz. We'll see who can add to their medal tally on day 3 of the championships. Italy lead the way, Great Britain and USA in 2nd position in terms of the position after day 2 of action. We've had a number of countries who have hit the gold medal spots, down to New Zealand with that 1 gold medal for Cameron Leslie yesterday. But a range of countries that have actually got on the medal table. It's been an excellent championships for sharing around the medals, hasn't it, Liz?
Yeah, there's been a few surprises, a few new faces, and it's meant that every race has been exciting. So, oh, and there, this is what you wait for, Paul.
Oh,
whenever we go anywhere,
you
want your mascot. Do you know what it's called?
No, someone did tell me, but I've forgotten now.
You never forget anything.
Oh,
we'll find out. We'll find out.
We'll find out and let you know. The mascot leaves the stage, and we are going to leave the stage now, because that is the end of the heat session for day number 3. Final session will be with us just in a few hours' time, 1700 hours local time, as I said. So bye for now. Join us later.